All right, time now for our business update. I'm joined here by Brian Quinn, starting with a big development for Airbus.
Well, the European airplane manufacturer has just broken ground on a new helicopter factory in China. Airbus will supply 100 of its rugged H-135 choppers to the local consortium in Qingdao in a €1 billion deal. German Chancellor Angela Merkel inked the agreement with Chinese authorities during a visit last summer, making Airbus the first foreign company to build helicopters in China. The factory should be up and running next year, producing 36 choppers annually. It represents a major investment in one of the world's fastest growing aviation markets. Here's what the CEO of Airbus Helicopters had to say.
We've seen constantly a 20% growth year over year. So we think it will continue at that pace, adding 100 new helicopters every year and then 200. So China is becoming the biggest market for sales of helicopters in the world.
And British Airways is continuing to experience disruptions after the weekend's massive flight cancellations. Their systems are getting back to normal, but the costs are going to be felt for quite a while.
Well, thousands of passengers stranded by that computer system shutdown. That, of course, is going to cost British Airways quite a bit in initial refunds, rebookings, and general disruption. Then there's the negative impact of the airline's reputation, which could well be felt in future ticket sales. But it's consumer compensation regulations that could end up putting BA on the hook for the major payouts. Under European law, customers who have experienced a more than 3-hour delay for a trip under 1,500 kilometers are entitled to €250 in compensation. For trips within the EU over that distance, that payout goes up to €400, then up to a maximum of €600 for flights outside the Union. Now, for thousands of customers, it's too early to say how much that could end up costing the airline, but some analyst estimates have it as high as 100 million British pounds.
It's a lot of money. Next, we are seeing an interesting phenomenon in Nigeria's farming industry, Brian.
Yeah, Nigerian women are increasingly leaving behind urban careers to take up agriculture. Farming has long been considered an occupation for poor rural communities, but that's changing as professional women adapt modern technology to make it more profitable. Martin Pollard has this report.
These cattle are being reared by a woman who until recently worked in the shipping sector. But 54-year-old Oluduni got sick of the money-obsessed nature of her industry and wanted a break. So since 2014, the mother of 5 has rented this piece of land and sold organically reared beef, lamb, goat and poultry to Lagos's growing middle class.
When I started, a lot of my friends thought I was crazy. They actually told me, look at you, you're going dark, you're always in the sun. But it was something I enjoyed doing.
After a tough start, Oluduni's now just able to break even. Next up, if she can get the financing to do it, is to expand the farm to be able to process her meat as well. A number of others have chosen a similar path, like Kofo, who has run her farm and written a blog about it since 2015. The former banker thinks agriculture is the key to lifting millions of Africans permanently out of poverty, and she thinks women can particularly benefit.
But women are now coming to the forefront of it. We're no more just workers. We're now, heading farms, managing farms, and really we're bringing that, that softer touch. Look at how pretty my tomatoes are. I mean, we make farming look a lot better, and now we're just taking our seat on the table, essentially.
But for now, success stories like these are still the exception in a country where women make up more than 2/3 of the agricultural workforce and rarely own any of the land.
And it started the trading week. How are markets looking, Brian?
European shares under some pressure at the open. Both the Frankfurt DAX and the CAC 40 here in Paris down slightly as trading starts. Markets closed in London today for a bank holiday, which is probably just as well for the FTSE 100 considering that British Airways debacle. Asian indexes staying relatively flat in Monday trading, with several there also closed for public holidays. The Nikkei in Japan closing just under flatline. Concerns over a new North Korean missile launch not helping there, nor in South Korea, where the Kospi closed down 0.1%.
And finally, for business, sales of the Nintendo console, the Switch, are on a tear.
Yes, they are. Supplies of the hybrid gaming system, which can be either a console or a portable handheld unit, are failing to meet demand, as Nintendo has declared the unit its fastest-selling gaming system ever. Nintendo has ordered increased production to meet the demand, as a gray market in future sales of the system has sprung up among enthusiasts. Now, it looks like the Switch's most popular game The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, copies of that are actually outselling the Switches themselves, which leads you to wonder, what are people doing with games that they don't have a console to play it on?
I don't have the console nor the game.
No, well, you're ahead of the curve there. Well, then.
Brian Quinn, business specialist, video game enthusiast.